Hey y'all, this is Chelsea here with my first video. Um, this is a design that I made for a cross-stitch retreat that I'm going to. Um, this is just a speed draw that I did for it, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how I did it. So as you can see, I started with a basic circle and drew a base, and now I'm adding the touches at the bottom, and all this I'm doing in a colored base sketch with just a pencil tool, and I'm using Procreate. And now I'm adding the lights, and I was started working on the curve to a line of vanishing, which is what this is called, to a vanishing point. And usually I have reference photos on my phone that I work with, and we're just starting with basic shapes, very messy, quick, just to get the ideas down. None of this is exact, and it doesn't have to show the final product, just giving an idea of where stuff's at, kind of like placements and everything. And then I'll go and add in my final line work, and for some reason it skipped ahead, as you can see. I don't know why it did that, but I use the technical pen in Procreate and vary my strokes based on kind of where it should be heavier. Always vary your line work. Then I sped this part up. As you can see, that would have taken forever if I had shown the trees being drawn at normal speed, because it took me forever. And now I am moving on to the cars. It was really hard for me to figure out what kind of shape that I wanted, because when you're doing small detail like this, you don't want to add too much detail to the small details, if that makes sense, because they are further away and smaller, so your natural eye would not see that much detail in it. And again, I rechanged the curve on the lamppost to kind of reflect the vanishing point a little bit better. And you'll see here in just a minute, I actually moved that vanishing point further to the horizon line. There it goes, right there. Because you, again, when you're looking at a horizon with the curve of the earth, you would not see that further on. The sunset I had a lot of fun doing. I played with the color some in my slider, and then this is where I start blending. This is probably my favorite step, because blending the colors really makes the drawing. It really does. So you use the smudge tool and kind of just smudge the colors back and forth. You don't want to go all in one direction. You want to smudge it back and forth, and it really brings a piece to life when you do this. I've not been happy with pieces before, and when I actually go in and start with the smudge tool, then it adds just what it needs. Coloring in the rocket here, and since it is a cylinder, I will do a tutorial on different shapes, on how to shade them. If y'all are interested in that, put in the comments below if you're interested in a tutorial on that. And I usually don't worry about coloring outside the lines on this or on any of my pieces, because I go back and clean up with the eraser tool. That's part of the beauty of digital. You don't have to be nice and neat, when you're doing this. You can go and color back over or erase, or however you want to do it. This is a snow globe, if you hadn't guessed by now. So here I am adding the snow in. This again took a few minutes. I probably should have sped this part up too, but that's okay. And of course you want to add where some of it's gathers at the bottom. So then the color for the bottom starts, and I just went ahead and did I'm adding here the stitches in onto the Huntsville, onto the, because that's supposed to be like a cross stitch, so I'm doing little tiny stitches. And for this part, I zoomed in with my Procreate and my iPad and that way I could see to do the little stitches better. And the another thing while this is going that I want to talk about is use the zoom tool to your advantage. You can always draw bigger or smaller by using the resize tool at the top. So don't be afraid to draw too big or too small. This is why I like to draw individual parts or elements of my drawing in different layers, so that when if it's too big or it's too small, I can go in and press the resize tool, which is like a drag and drop tool, and it's great because you can drag it around if it's not in quite the right place. So my recommendation is to always do each individual part on a different layer. So now I'm actually going to go through and speed this up just a hair so that we can go ahead and get to the rest of it. Okay, this part's going to go a little fast. I basically just went in and picked some, using the color dropper tool out of the sky, and picked some colors that complemented the sky to color in the bobbins at the bottom. If you're not into cross stitching, bobbins is what the things you wrap your thread around are called. So I went in and I increased the darkness using the color slider based on each color that I already had, to just kind of suggest shadows in the thread where each individual thread is wrapped around. When it comes to hair or a thread or something like that, you do not want to put in every single thread or every single hair, because it just makes your drawing look muddy. So definitely try not to do that. Then I went in and now it's time for shadows. This is, again, just like smudging, really brings your drawing to life. So I just did like I just said and went and picked the color, increase the darkness, and I'm just coloring around the edge because I wanted that bottom to have a carved look. So I wanted it to look like they either raised up off of the base. So these, I'm going around each piece, that way it looks like you have some shadow where it's curving up into the piece to where it's carved. So I'm coloring in the scissors and I'm adding the shadows to the white fabric. Shadows do not, obviously you would have to use a gray. So just make a really great gray when you're adding shadows to white. And don't be afraid to add colored highlights into white either, because white is not pure white. And that brings us really close to the end. So thanks for watching. Bye bye. Hey guys, make sure and give my shop a look. The link will be down in the description. Thanks and have a great day.